Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commission members. I'm Dave Methuselam, Executive Director of the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association, representing nearly 9,000 Minnesota police officers. With me tonight is Lieutenant Bob Kroll, who serves as President of the Police Officers Federation of Minneapolis, and Trooper Joe Delwo, who serves as President of the Minnesota State Patrol Association. With respect for your time and the number of people who plan to testify this evening, I'll be very brief. However, I do want to acknowledge Chair Rosen, you, Vice Chair O'Driscoll, and all the members for your foresight and leadership on these pension issues that are really important to all Minnesotans. I'll get right to the point. Our membership strongly supports this bill. Our law enforcement labor leaders from throughout the state have had the opportunity over the past 2 years to work closely with PARA and MSRS directors and staff and be part of developing the solutions that are contained in this bill. We've also played an active role in building consensus among our membership. Our membership understands the need for the sustainability measures and fully embraces the shared sacrifice solutions that we have reached. On behalf of law enforcement, we respectfully request that each of you support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Lieutenant Kroll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. Dave is a much more eloquent speaker than me, so I'm not going to take a lot of your time. I've met with a lot of you.
Sir, if you just identify yourself for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he did it for us. Lieutenant Bob Kroll, President of Police Officers Federation, Minneapolis. I won't take a lot of time because I spoke with a lot of you on this issue over the years. This is one that we've policed our own on, and we brought solutions forth, and we're just asking you to support them, as a lot of you told me you would along the way. This isn't a job that we go into to get rich. This is a job that we go do for the benefits at the end of the line. And in these times, we're having some trouble recruiting and retaining members. It's very important to us. This makes the plan sustain, and please get it through and get it through clean this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. Mr. Dell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission. My name is Joe Delwo. I'm the President of the State Troopers Association. And as President of the Troopers Association, I represent the 529 road troopers. And I can guarantee you they're having a much better night tonight than they did last night on the highways. I myself spent many hours between Cologne and Norwood, and at times it was a whiteout condition. Just like Lieutenant Kroll said, the pension is the #1 concern for my members. As your troopers, we spend a career protecting the highways and the state capitol complex, and we really rely upon that pension at the end of our tour of duty. We truly appreciate all the work that's been invested by Senator Rosen and all the members of the Commission. This truly is a bill that everybody has shared sacrifice. It's a true compromise, and it's something that everybody can be proud of. Like Bob said, the pension is there for our members at the end of their career. The troopers, we pay, when this bill is all said and done, 15.4% of our income goes for our pension. So we truly are a shared sacrifice when it comes to that, and we do, as troopers, we don't get Social Security. The one part that I would like to mention is our spouses. My wife will tell you the long hours, the what ifs, the call outs in the middle of the night. We've earned our pension. And for me, for my wife, it's ×2 because my son is also a trooper. The pension bill awaiting you is a good bill. The troopers have spent their career protecting all of us. Please protect the pension for them. Thank you for your time.
And Mr. Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Brian Rice. I'm representing the Minnesota Professional Firefighters. That's an organization of over 1,800 members from 42 locals around the state, as well as the Minnesota Police Fraternal Association. That's a group of over 800 retired police officers and spouses, both in the Para-Police and Fire Fund. This legislature owes a special obligation to police and firefighters. They're not in Social Security. I've said that before, it bears repeating. These police and fire plans have a history in the state going back to the 1880s. They've now all been consolidated with parapolice and fire. They existed 50 years before there was Social Security. There's been a long tradition in this state to protect these people and pay for their pensions. It's not only their pensions, it's their disability plan, it's their survivor plan. And the only people they get to look to is this legislature. Another key, there was some talk over the interim about why this additional $9 million that the governor put in the bill, that's to guarantee these pensions. I started lobbying on this issue in 1982, and at that time the full funding date was 2010. It seemed like an easy formula, 30 years out, I'll pay my mortgage, we'll pay it off. We're past 2010 now. Then in 89, the funding date was 2020, kicked out another 30 years. And then in 2010, it was kicked out again to 2033. This bill kicks that date out to 2047. The commission has heard testimony about the demographics of Minnesota. In the 80s and 90s, Governor Carlson always said we could fund these pensions at 80 to 85%. We have a good plan. That might have worked a generation ago. It doesn't work today. The population has aged. The ratio of retirees to active has changed. We have to meet these obligations now. The state demographer came in and testified, and we're going to have a fairly stable population. The retired number will grow a little bit. The younger children will grow a bit, but it's time to fund these plans. Minnesota has really gotten by on the cheap compared to the national average. We appreciate everything that's in this bill. There are benefit reductions, but the money needs to come into these plans so that these benefits are guaranteed and they can count on them. This is a hard bargain that you, Representative O'Driscoll, and Chair Rosen have driven. It's a fair bargain. It's a right bargain. It's a bargain that's good for the state, and it's particularly good for police and fire because it's time to pay the benefits and put the money aside. We've learned a lot of lessons, feast and famine. Joseph talking to the Pharaoh, we should have listened to him years ago. When there's a feast, you put the money aside so that when the famine comes, you can eat. And that's what this bill does, and we greatly appreciate your support.